Fred, where are you?
Fred's just dots.
I'm here.
Fred, we need your camera, yo.
There he
is.
No, nobody needs to see this.
Oh, you got a face made for podcasting.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so Ian is just going to kick off the episode here.
All right, this is Ian Parlin from Trail Monster Running in Maine, and you're listening to the Cultra Trail Running Podcast, episode number 264.
Cultra Trail Running Podcast. Running. Cultra.
All right. Well,
Didn't that go perfectly with the bat? With the
Becky, shh,
Oh,
girl.
sorry. Okay.
Welcome everybody to the Cultra Trail Running Podcast.
Becky gets shushed in the
What
first
is
10
that?
seconds. What is the?
I can't even go
What
on.
are you doing?
You thought it was going to be me.
Becky's
No,
flying.
it's always Becky.
Becky's doing like this wax on, wax off with the penguin outfit.
But I thought this was so good for the monkey.
It is.
Like the flying monkey.
It is. It's great. Let me just get through this. We got so much to do tonight, Beck. We're gonna just keep rolling here.
Becky's already in trouble.
She is. Okay, so welcome everybody to the Cultra Trail Running Podcast. I'm your host, Art Byram, and I'm joined tonight by the Cultra Crew. We have Evil Becky Burke.
Hello. Back from vacation.
Yay, Beck.
Yay.
Welcome back. We have Fred Morolo.
I'm here. Didn't
Good.
go on vacation, but I'm here.
Excellent. We have Celeste Fong a Ding Dong.
Morning, kids.
Good morning.
Fong remarried, revived.
Yeah, I
was
just
saying,
got married.
I think Celeste got married over the weekend, right? Yeah.
She's an honest woman twice.
Again.
Right?
Yeah.
Who would have guessed?
Yep.
And then
Yay.
tonight we're going to have a number of people on who recently participated in the Stone Cat Ultra Trail Running Festival
Yay.
podcast. I don't know why I want to say, anytime I say trail running, I have to like say podcast after it somehow. I don't know
Same.
why. Don't
Are you
ask me.
contractually obligated, Art? Is that
That's right. So listen, it might be the first time that you've ever listened to this podcast. Not you, Fred, but other people out there.
I've never listened to it, Art. I'm sorry to say.
So if you haven't listened, the Culture Trail Running Podcast is a place where we can get together and discuss all the fun shit that happens on the trails that most normal people don't care about. Our headquarters are located in the belly of the Beast Coast, Glastonbury, Connecticut. So most of our stories involve Northeast trail running or Northeast trail runners. The language that we use is explicit and raw. So do not listen to this with your kids. So today we have joining us, not just people who ran Stone Cat, but these are tougher than normal people out there. These are our northern brothers and sisters from Maine. So they're used to wrestling gators and all sorts of stuff up there. And I'm really looking forward to making the connection. Now, the first person joining us tonight is Ian Parlin. So Ian, welcome. Welcome to Cultra.
Thank you.
Yay. And he's got like a rainbow of shoes behind him. Like I was just looking, I'm like, oh, I want to put the orange ones on. But I also want to put on one red, one orange, one yellow, and one green.
I should do that sometime. Yeah, these ones, I've got, I think, 15, 16 pairs of Innovates like on the shelf right behind me, not including the ones that are upstairs that are in heavy rotation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just can't seem to get rid of them. Like I have a lot of special memories. Like these orange ones I wore in the 100-mile wilderness. And I'll never want to throw them away.
Right on.
Like there's stories about every one of them. They're like my...
Yeah. Is that a pair of O-Rocks there? O-Rock Ultras?
Yeah, the ones with the metal studs.
Yeah.
I got a couple different versions of them. Yeah, for winter running up here.
Now,
Maine,
were you like a
trails.
metal stud when you ran in them? Like you were like, I'm a stud.
Yeah.
You ran like a stud? No, maybe.
It does. It makes me feel better than from like, sometimes I DNF, but when I put my studded shoes on it makes me feel a lot better about myself.
All right. I actually ran in those. I ran Stone Cat in those. So,
really?
Yeah.
I was just stupidly going to be like, when did you do Stone Cat? Like,
what is this Stone Cat?
You ran Stone Cat?
What the fuck is that?
All right, you did. You were at Stone Cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for
it
those of
was.
us who are unsure, there's no D in Stone Cat, right? It's not like
That's
Stone Cat.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Fred.
Okay.
Now you're
so let's
telling
keep
me.
it clear.
Do you think I would have driven 6 hours if that weren't the case? No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
It
how
was-
long of a drive was it for you, Ian? So you were coming
It
from
was like an
from
hour and a
Maine.
half. Hour and a half.
Oh,
But I actually
wait,
drove
Ian.
down. Yeah,
Is that real Maine then? Like if you're only an hour and a half away?
real Maine.
it's real
It's a
Maine.
fake
Yeah,
Maine.
Portland
Don't
is
you
real
have to
Maine.
get like up
Oh,
north?
you live in Portland,
like
Maine?
Booth Bay Harbor or something? You know, like you get up there.
It's all real Maine.
Is
It
it? Okay,
is.
all right. Because I've heard stories like the people down in York, they're not
I-
real Mainers or something. You know. I
Well,
don't
no,
know.
that's a whole
Love
different
York,
thing. That's like,
Maine.
yeah, that's like practically Massachusetts. But
Yeah.
yeah, Portland counts as real Maine.
Okay.
So
all
you're
right.
from Portland, Maine. Ish.
Which is just outside of Portland. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Was it just me or did everybody
No,
else not
yeah,
hear?
we
for a
lost
No,
the
second?
that
first
cut out.
part of that there. You said you're from.
Just outside of Portland. That's where I grew up.
That's so weird. It did it again.
Yeah.
It's literally the beginning. It's like,
Whatever
Did it-
word that is.
It won't say the town that you're from.
but
Ian.
that's okay.
We'll just ignore it. It doesn't matter. Let's just say it's Portland.
Okay.
All right.
Close enough.
It likes
Yeah.
Portland. I guess, like, you know.
Because I live in Portland, Connecticut. So, and most
I didn't
people
even know
are
there
like,
was one.
thank you. Yes, that's what everybody says.
There's
I did
barely
not
one,
say-
Ian. It hardly exists.
If
There's like
It's a
three
tiny,
houses.
tiny town.
Yeah.
if you knew, you'd want to forget. Wait, no, that's not true. I love Portland. So Ian, tell us about the first time that you ever ran Stone Cat.
Yeah, Stone Cat, first 50-mile race. I did it in 2007 as my first 50 miler.
Did I do it that year? Ian, did I do
Oh, yeah.
Stone Cat in 2006?
You absolutely did. Yeah, we ran together for the first half, and then you dropped me or something like that. No, I don't. I have no idea.
Story of my
Holy
life.
jeez, I don't know why I was like,
That
wait,
does
did
sound
I?
like Becky, though. You like that was exactly.
She's
Like, oh, I'll
like
be your
that.
friend. I'll stay with you the whole time. Sorry, you're too slow.
That's my race
I'm
report.
going ahead.
Did she throw a cup? Because that's Becky.
That is
true.
yes.
True.
Yeah, Stone Cat 50 was my first 50 miler, 2007, and that was the year I started running ultras. I got into directing in 2006. My friend Eric and I founded the Pineland Farms Trail Challenge in 2006. And he came to me because I had some experience with trail running, but I'd never done ultras before. He had some experience with race directing, but never on trails. And it was actually people from GAC that had been doing a race that Eric organized on the roads in Brunswick, Maine, a little ultra on a 4-mile loop, 50K, 50 miler. And they told him that he needed that Maine needed a trail ultra. And so Eric came to me and said, you know about trails. I know about race directing. Let's do a trail ultra. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, whatever. Never organized a race before. Didn't know anything about ultras.
Oh my
So
gosh.
2006, we launched the Farms Trail Challenge. It was a 25K, 50K that first year. And it went off really well. And I was really captivated by doing what I thought at the time were just ridiculous things, running 50K through the woods.
Excellent.
And second year of the race in 2007, I'm like, I need to know what, as a race director, to make me a better race director, I need to know what participants are going through. And so I ran the 50K at my own race in 2007 as my first ultra marathon. And ever since then, I was hooked. But I thought, as race director, I can't really put on an event for people if I don't understand what it is we're expecting them to do. And so that was
Excellent.
really eye-opening for me, just in terms of capable of as a runner, but also a good education for me as a race director to really see things from that side. And I think I learned a lot as a race director over the years, just from constantly being, an active runner and a participant in races. And since then, I've directed over 50 races in Maine, created half a dozen of them and assisted with others. And our club, Trail Monster Running, has expanded. And, we've got everything from 6-mile race up to 100-mile race up in Maine.
So Ian, could you just tell us about some of the, just maybe rattle off some of the race names and stuff that might be, that are out there that you've done?
Yeah. So I'm no longer involved with the Pineland race. That had an unfortunate demise in 2000, 2019, which I won't take any responsibility for. The Bradbury Mountain Trail Running Series is a 3-race series that I've been putting on since 2008, 6 miles, 9 miles, and 12 miles every summer in July, August, and September. I helped create the Big Bad Ultras, also at Bradbury Mountain State Park in Pownell. We do a 50K and 50 miler. I'm no longer the race director of that. I've sort of handed it off to capable people from Trail Monster Running. That's every year in October. We also do a 100-mile race, the Riverlands 100. That's in Turner, Maine in May. And there's a couple other events that have the ground, and some are no longer going, and others have been handed off to other people.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been. I've
I'm
been
sorry.
doing tons of races over the years as race director, but always continued to run myself, which I think is really important part of being a successful race director, is to understand it from the runner perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. I think then you get an inside view of what people are looking for, and what you look for in a course, and support. So the Riverlands 100, how long has that been going on, or is that?
That started in 2017.
Okay. Now, was that
Is that a 20-mile loop, like out and back, like 10 out, 10 back?
A little bit over the years. It started as 20 miles, so 10 out, 10 back, repeat 5 times. We've modified the course, I think, starting 2 years ago. So it's now 12 and a half out, 12 and a half back. So 4 times 25.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay, cool.
It's not it's if I'm remembering correctly, it's not like a flat, like just go out straight, turn around and come back. Like,
no, it's twisty. It's like a mixture of ATV trails and single track. And on paper, it looks easy because, if you draw the elevation profile, you're like, that's not a lot of gain. You look at the map and it's like, it's fairly straight along the side of a river, but it's pretty technical. And I think everybody who comes and does it from out of state, if they finish, saying, holy shit, I had no idea it was going to be that difficult. Because it looks like, as I said, on paper, it looks like an easy course. It looks like an easy race because it doesn't have a lot of elevation, but it does beat you up. It's in early May, and you get some pretty wild temperature swings where it can be like 75, 80 degrees during the day and get down into the 40s overnight. A lot of people succumb to that temptation to drop out at your car after the second or third lap. Yeah, it's a good course. It's sort of accessible in the sense that being repetitive out and back, logistically, it's fairly easy. It's really well supported. We get a lot of really dedicated volunteers and a lot of great support from the local ATV club that shuttles volunteers and stuff out there all night long. But it is deceptively difficult. I have yet to run it myself. Every year when I volunteer, I say, okay, next year is going to be the year that I run it. And for whatever reason, I don't get my shit together and actually pull the trigger, but we'll see.
Gotcha.
Stonecat this year was going to be my stepping off point. Like if Stonecat went well for me, I was going to be like, all right, good 50 until 100, perfect. But I DNF'd at Stonecat this year for 3 laps, and so that did not give me the confidence that I need to sign up for 100 right away.
Yeah. So when was the last time that you did Stonecat?
Prior to this year, it was, I think, 2014, I did the marathon. So I have 3 finishes of the 50 miler and 3 finishes of the marathon, but I don't think I've been there at all since 2014. Year my daughter was born, and so I haven't done as much racing since I started having kids. Yeah, they fuck up everything.
But tell me about it. Wait till they get even older. Oh,
well,
God.
The good thing now, my daughter's 9 years old and she loves to run, and so
yeah. Wait till she's
first,
like
6 mile
15.
trail race this year.
Wait till she's like 15 and says, "You're such a hypocrite." That kind of stuff. That's
that's
I never say that.
Yeah.
Ever.
Wow.
No, I'm totally joking.
It's coming if it hasn't come already.
Yeah. So my daughter ran one of the races that I direct, a 6 mile trail race that I direct at Bradbury Mountain this summer. So that was a really cool moment for me, because every year I've been doing these races at Bradbury for 15 years, and every year it's like, oh fuck, this is the last time I'm going to do it. Like, I'm just getting sick of this shit. But child do the race. It was a pretty special moment for me as a parent and as race director. So it's like, all right, she did the 6 mile. if you do all 3 races in the series, the 6, the 9, and the 12, you get a hoodie at the end of it that says "Badass Trail Runner," and so it's like that's why people do all 3 races so they can get the hoodie. And so I really want my daughter to be able to earn that badass hoodie so she can wear it to school with pride. So it's like I'm going to keep doing it until I know that she can
get
do all
suspended.
3 races.
I was going to say, so you're trying to get your daughter suspended from school, is what you're saying, right?
Trying to educate her on the reality of trail running. You know, it's a harsh world out there.
So Ian, before we move on, Pineland Farms, your name rang a bell with me, and I was like, he's the Pineland Farms guy. A lot of my friends used to go up there. You know,
all right, Eric Boucher and I created the race in 2006. And we did it for a couple years. And then eventually Eric got laid off from his job and he went into the business of race directing. And so he sort of really took it on as sort of a for-profit, event along with many other events. And I kind of stayed on board as, the guy who knew the course and knew the logistics. And I marked the race course every year from 2006 up to 2019. But things, being a for-profit event, it's always an interest in growing the event and bigger and better and parties. And that wasn't really my thing. And trail monster running in general is a little bit more sort of low-key, old school, close community. We don't do it for the money. We do it for the love of running. And so I think that's what people will find when they do our events, my events at Bradbury or our Big Brad Ultras or Riverlands, is they're small events and we like them that way. You get maybe 40, 50 finishers in the 100-miler, similar numbers in our other ultras. Mm-hmm. Our shorter races are bigger, but trying to preserve a good experience for people on the trails. Running gnarly terrain with big hills and lots of roots and rocks, and you just can't pack 1,500 people into that kind of trail. So we keep them small. We don't heavily promote them, but we like the way they are.
So what I'm hearing is you're not selling your race to UTMB.
Exactly.
Your race series, right?
Whereas Pineland was kind of headed in that direction as like grow more events. It started out as a 50K and 25K, and then we added a 50-miler, and then we added a 5K and a 10K and a cane across and all that stuff. And it was cool and it was awesome and it was a staple of the Maine trail running community. It was where I ran my first ultra. It was where a ton of people in Maine ran either their first ultra or their first trail race. So it was, that event has a really special thing for our community. But we don't need to get into all the reasons why it went sour, but it did.
I understand that there's got to be some financial burden too, just for the protection that you need to pay and stuff like that. And, animal control and trying to keep all the gators off the course and all that too. Maybe you could talk about that a little bit.
Well, there's a difference between events where the director's trying to make a living, events where the race director has a regular job and is just doing it because they love doing it. And the events that Trail Monster Running does, that Trail Monster Running owns, are events that are run by people who have day jobs, but they have a passion for running. And I've been to plenty of events where it was pretty clear that motivated by trying to make money. And those aren't the events that I really want to go back to.
Right on.
It's events like Stone Cat, and I love what GAC did for many years, and I love what TARC does. And you would never walk away from one of those events and be like, "Oh fuck, man, I got taken advantage of here." There's a reasonable cost for entry. About the experience on the trail, and that's what's most important is the experience on the trail. They've got great aid stations, great support. They've got runners supporting you out there at the aid stations. They're beautiful courses. They're challenging courses, and that's what it's about. I could care less about the free beer at the end or whatever the after party is.
Now gotcha. I need to do some more of those of your races, because those are the races that I like the best. And I've done a lot of TARC races, and I loved GAC, and you just feel at home. And
we've got a great community here in Maine, and I'm really proud to have been a part of making that that happened, because
that's
when
so
I first
cool.
came to Maine, there weren't these events around, and there wasn't a running club. But me and a couple friends were just like, we were traveling out of state doing races. We'd go to New Hampshire and run the Muddy Moose or the Merrimack River Race in Massachusetts or Seven Sisters. We were traveling out of state all the time for these great races. And after a while, thought, well, shit, we've got so many awesome trails here in Maine.
Yeah.
Let's just do it ourselves. We'll make our own club and we'll put on our own races and do it how we want to do it. And it's been great. It's been a blast.
That's great. So tell us a little bit more about the Trail Monsters. So how many, is it how many members are there, or is it like an RRCA club, or is it more of a Facebook group or a race association, or how's it work?
It's kind of a lifestyle.
I like it.
Beginning when I created it, it was a little bit of a reaction to a running club in Maine that I was part of prior. Maine Track Club. None of them are going to listen to this, so I can say bad things about them, right? I mean, nobody really listens to this.
Allegedly.
No, I mean, Maine Track Club, it's a big club and everything, but to make a long story even longer, I started running. I didn't run in school or anything. I hated to run. I did a season of cross country in middle school, and I was awful, and I hated it. It was miserable. I met my wife in college, and she was a runner. We got married spring break in my final year of college. She's from Scotland. I moved there right after graduating. And one of the first things I did when I moved to Scotland was I volunteered at a race. And it was a race that was put on by my wife's running club, where the club that she had been part of since she was 12 years old, and her dad was a founding member. And so I was, holding the clipboard and a stopwatch and writing down times, and, people are bringing homemade and whatever. It was like this huge community event. And it was the first time, I hated running all my life, but I saw my wife, what she was doing, and everybody else. And I'm like, this is something that I want to be part of. And so I joined the running club, and that's when I started running. This is like 2000. And community spirit that really about doing it. And that, pushed me to start running, to do longer distances, to do my first marathon. First marathon was a Loch Ness Marathon in Scotland. It was a beautiful race. I did horrible, as many first marathons are, but it was cool to be, I saw the Loch Ness Monster and all that shit. It was great. I came to Maine, seeing that sort of small town, local running club experience. We had the Maine Track Club, which is theoretically representing everybody in Maine, but you'd go to a race and nobody's wearing the shirts and there weren't many group runs. And so what I wanted was, not just to focus on trails, but something that was really about the community. And it's like, okay, we train together, we run together every week, we do races together, we wear cool matching shirts, and we kick ass. And that's what it was supposed to be about. And so right from the beginning, there was never any entry fee, because I hated being harassed by people to pay my membership dues. Your membership dues are in the blood trails. You show up and you run with us week after week, you earn your membership. And so we've had this sort of ambiguous process right from the beginning where, you show up, you do the group runs, you do the races, you volunteer, and maybe sometimes it takes 6 months, and we'll kind of tap you on the shoulder one day and be like, you know what, you get it, you're in. And so most of the people
it's like
that
the Godfather,
right?
Great community. And so it's like when we ask for something, we need volunteers. We get, have a club of runners, and everybody loves to run. Not everybody does all the races. So we get the best volunteers at our aid stations, the best volunteers to help with timing and all that stuff. So it's great. It helps make our events really low cost. We don't hire a timing company to do anything, because it's all managed by volunteers. But because all the volunteers are runners, they get it. They know how to pay attention and write down a bib number when somebody crosses the finish line. Not rocket science, but you'd be surprised how many people can screw that up.
What a difference, because I think we've all been to races, and we've talked about this before, where, I mean, God love them because their heart's in the right place, but you get to an aid station and the people at the aid station that are working it don't have experience like doing these kind of things. And so, they just don't, they're like, hey, what's going on?
They won't put Desitin on you. Right? They won't even apply lube.
I need somebody to run Vaseline in my balls on 80 miles. And it's like, it's a special kind of person to do that, right?
Right. Gosh, that's like a lost talent right there.
We won't do that for you.
You say that, you have no idea.
Oh.
Well, so can you tell us about, because I'm like looking, I'm like, oh my God, the time's going by so quick. Sorry, I'm like just taking over. But
No,
what
back.
happened with your like Stone Cat? You it didn't go as you.
Well, my let's see, 2018, 19, 20, I did hundreds. I had a good sort of string of years. And then I kind of got injured in 2021, 22, just nothing really big. In 2023, finally things were starting to feel like they were working for me. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do a 50 this year. I've done more hundreds than I have 50s. It's been a while before I jump back into another 100. Let's do another 50 and use that as like a stepping stone to get back into another 100. And so my goal this year was actually one of my own club races, the Big Brad Ultras 50 miler in Pownell in October. And I signed up for that. And that was my goal for the year. But we traveled to Scotland to visit family for the summer, there for 2 weeks. I got COVID right after getting back. And that was like early August, and that totally training. And so, you know, for an October 50 miler, like missing the month of August was like, that was peak training time. And so I decided to drop down to the 50K at Bradbury at the Big Brad Ultras. And then I realized that Stone Cat, thank you, Tark, was back on this year. And so I signed up for the 50. So I just sort of pivoted. So I ran the 50K at Bradbury, which is actually like 33 and change miles. Good race. I ran hard. I placed well. But it left me feeling a little bit beat up. And I was sort of mixed feelings going into that. Like, how hard do I race this a month out from a 50 miler? Like, I think I can go all out and still have a good race. Like, a month is enough time to finish from one hard race and do a little bit of recovery and a little bit of training and get ready for Stone Cat. And I don't think I quite got the balance right. Like, I raced hard in October at Bradbury. I had a good race, a little bit of downtime, training runs, did another long run. Hamstring was kind of feeling a little bit achy, but I'm like, you know, whatever, foam roll. It's just part of ultra running. So I kind of went into Stone Cat, like thinking, like, I think I got it. I think I can do this and it's going to be fine. And I had a really solid first half, like 2 laps, pretty consistent pace.
Yeah.
Like 13 and a half miles for each loop, which was a little bit of a surprise, but it was like, okay, whatever, like roll with it. Stopped at the halfway point, like refueled my pack, you know, refilled my bladder and ate a little something and got going again about a half mile out on the third lap. Felt like I'd been kicked in the gut. Like, just those things like, do I stick my finger down my throat and make myself puke? Or do I just like keep going until I puke? Or do I just like walk it off? And so I walked, ran for a couple miles, and eventually it passed. But by the time I got going again, I just couldn't pick that speed up again. That hamstring was flaring up. And unfortunately, it's one of those late races where, you know, you come right back to the start every couple hours, and it's like,
and
Tony's going
and Tony Bonanno's sitting in the table next to you at the Cultra table, right? And he's all relaxed there, you know.
Making you jealous.
Get back after 3 laps, like half the people in our group were literally, they're sitting there drinking Bloody Marys, like, you know, half marathon runners who've been done for hours. They're like half in the bag. You know, they're like, yeah, fuck it, stop running, have a drink, you know. And it's like, oh, Jesus, this is really tempting. Like,
very
I could go out
encouraging.
and suffer and like risk injury and walk for 5 hours, or just like chill out with my buddies. And so that's the problem with loop courses. It's like there's just so many good reasons to stop sometimes.
It is a temptation. And did you find that a lot of the people in your group that you went with that also DNF'd? I felt like there was
I'd like to say that we're a really
long
hardy bunch and we don't quit, but yeah, there was a lot of DNFs.
Yeah, no, because in looking at the results afterwards, I was like, you know, like, yeah, it was a pretty high DNF rate in general, but I think even for that race, I thought it was higher than typical.
I think the changes in the course are part of it. You know, like I said, I've been at Stone Cat 6 times before, so that means I've done the 53 times. That's 4 loops, 12 plus 3 marathons. So anyway, I've done a lot of loops there. Like, I knew the old course, and it wasn't clear.
Yeah, I just assumed it was the old course. And I'm like, this isn't.
The description made it sound like, 12 and a half miles. Right. It's always been 12 and a half, but it's actually 13 and change. And so that was like, they could have communicated that a little bit better. Anyway, I think that was maybe a factor, is that it was not just a little bit longer, but it was definitely more difficult trail. It was more technical single track than what I remember from before, which was more like runnable double track.
Interesting.
And so after the first lap, I was prepared to pivot. I'm like, okay, it's not going to be like an 8-hour day. It's going to be like a 10 or a 12-hour day. And I was trying to get myself into the mindset for that. This is a different event than what I thought I was getting into, but I can do it. But then all these other things crept up and started.
Yeah. Well,
on my body.
It looks like you had up until that point, you had a good day. You were definitely cranking out on that. And it's good to hear you tell me that the course is different than it was in the past, because I looked at it and I just couldn't figure out. I was like, this is pretty runnable. And it's like, I don't see, why am I running 17 and 18 minute miles? It's not that hard, but why am I doing that?
I think this is my 6th time doing Stone Cat, or 7th or something. And I knew I wasn't in the same shape as I've been in the past, but I was looking at my miles and I'm like, oh my gosh, like why are my miles so off? Like and there's definitely several reasons, but but it was kind of frustrating where I'm like, like, did somebody just like knock me in the head and I passed out for a minute and then I just came to, because what's going on?
2009, I ran the 50 miler, and that was a long time ago. That was like, I was a good day for me in some ways, but I set off with Eliza LaPierre.
Oh yeah.
She's way better than me. I had no right running with her. But anyway, like, to put things in perspective,
she's amazing.
I was running like 8.5 minute miles to begin with, and then like, 12, 13, 14 minute miles at the end. So I like studied like that race from before. I'm like, okay, I know what not to do. Like, don't set out with the fastest woman. Like, that's not where I belong.
Doesn't she have, or didn't she at one point have the course record too? Like not even just fast. Like she's like that.
Yeah, she was like a solid hour ahead of me that year.
Wow.
But I knew what I thought I should be running. Like, I thought I could do like 10-minute miles. Like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, now it was dark because the race started an hour earlier than it used to. It used to start at 6, but this year was 5. So it's like dark, but it's dark. I'm like, okay, 11, 12-minute miles at the beginning. I'm like, whatever, it's dark. When the sun comes up, I am gonna like put the hammer down. And then the hammer never went down.
Hey, Ian, it was I appreciate you coming on today and talking to us about trail animals and everything.
We definitely, I want to have him come back. Like,
I think
talk more about your races and about the trail monsters.
Yes.
Yeah, we do lots of cool things up here in Maine. We're not that far away.
You're not.
No, I want to go do a race.
Hey, once you get to Maine, once you get there, you're halfway there. So, right.
Well, that used to be true for me when I would go up to Baxter, right? You get to Maine and you're like halfway there.
That's absolutely true. Yes.
Yeah, so that's too damn
Baxter's
far away.
like a different country.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I could go on forever. Obviously, I have just about finished my glass of scotch here. That means I'm in forever mode. But I know you've got other guests, so
awesome.
I appreciate your invitation.
Ian, well,
thank you.
So glad to have you come and join us, and look forward to seeing you out there. Again soon. So
cool.
I'm gonna look up your races. That's what I'm doing tonight afterwards.
Everybody come to me.
I already Googled it.
We want to keep them small,
There you go.
We'll only send the cool kids.
Awesome. That's what you like.
We won't bring the poops.
Very good.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Ian.
Thanks, Ian. Take care.
Have a great night.
All right.
Awesome.
Who did Ian kind of look like? Anybody?
Jerry Turk.
No, but yeah,
Me?
just a little bit. Michael Lopresti.
Yeah, bald Michael
different
Lopresti.
hair. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, it's Jake
Hi.
Chambers, everybody.
Hey guys,
Hey.
All right.
Hi.
How you doing, Jake?
how are you, Art?
Good. So welcome to Cultra.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. So how
Yay.
you doing today?
Not bad. Busy week, but yeah, we're here.
Very good. So where do you live, Jake?
I live in Portland, Maine.
Okay. All right. Now,
see, look at that. Do you know I live in Portland as well, but I live in Portland, Connecticut.
Oh, I didn't know there's a Portland, Connecticut.
There it is.
Perfect
Always
answer.
the debate of Portland, Oregon, and Portland, Maine. And
Yes.
Portland, Oregon was named after Portland, Maine. So, what was Portland, Connecticut named after?
I like the bottom of the barrel.
So
I
Portland,
think.
Connecticut is the other white meat. So I think it's what they call it.
The other white meat. Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
That could be a shirt. Portland, Connecticut, the other white meat. It's because I was waiting, because usually when I say I'm from Portland, people will say, oh, Portland, Maine. I'm like, no. Portland, Oregon? No. And they're like, what? And I'll say Portland, Connecticut. And then there'll be just exact same thing. There'll be a pause. And then there'll be, I didn't know there was a Portland, Connecticut. So, yeah. But I love Portland, Maine. It is beautiful. And I love Portland, Connecticut too. But you live in a beautiful area. So
very good. So, Jake, was this your first time running Stone Cat?
First time running Stone Cat, yeah.
All right.
How many?
But not your first ultra.
That was my first time running as well. Yeah.
I've done it before. And I don't remember. I think I've done it like 6 times. But I hadn't done it in several years. So I was and I was very sad when GAC kind of closed shop, which I totally got it. But I was super excited when Tark took over. So I was yay. But this wasn't your first ultra. You have
So I'm a very new run.
Ooh.
I've been running since 2020. COVID hit, gyms closed. I'm just gonna start running. Sign up for a marathon. I signed up for Rocket, and that was
Okay.
cool, but I ran it virtually in Portland. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm not running anymore, right? And I got into rock climbing. I'm still climbing now, but I took a year off and then realized, oh, I actually enjoy running. It's funny. I had a story on my Facebook. Should I run the Sugarloaf Marathon this year? So I ran Sugarloaf Marathon this past May, just to kind of check it off the list.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been wanting to do longer distances, and I did the Back Cove Ultra in Portland, Backyard Ultra, and I did 100K. So I went from a marathon, and then I did like 66 miles. So my knees hurt.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, no,
jump right in.
Yeah, that's according to book. I mean, that's
So recovery took a while there, but I signed up for Stone Cat because all of you were talking about it in like December and convinced.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
I was searching for races, and I had some like on my list, and that was on my list, and then you talked about it and kind of confirmed, and I just went on a limb and signed up, and it was $25. And I'm like, if I'm not ready, it's fine.
Right.
Very good. That's an awesome story. We should I know. Can you put that in writing to us?
No, it was a great selling point.
Fred, can we get this shit notarized? What are we doing?
I was looking for a kickback or something.
We got to leverage this, right? Yeah. So get Patrick, Becky, get Patrick on the phone. I want some
I'll get him on the
shit
horn
right now. We don't have any sponsors. We just extort race directors.
That's a nice race you have. It'd be a shame if something happened to it, like it started on fire or something, right? That kind of thing.
Hopefully nobody will say anything bad about it on the air. Yeah. Or spreading those rumors about Gators running around. I mean, fuck, that shut down the Maine running scene. Oh my God.
So were you into, you said you did mountain climbing. Did you do that? Rock climbing, sorry. Were you doing that prior to getting into running, or like had you been doing that before 2020?
A little bit pre-COVID, but then I bought a house, and I'm 5 miles from Evo Rock Gym in Portland. And
Rock Gym, I love that name.
Evo Rock Gym, yeah. And I have some friends there that climb and convinced me, and I started climbing. So I didn't run for a year and climbed a bunch, but missed consistent exercise. Rock climbing is very up and down.
Yeah. I just wonder, do you tend, being that you have this rock climbing background, and obviously you must have some good upper body strength, do you tend to take advantage of that in the courses that you pick for running? Like, do you pick the more challenging, scrambly, like terrainy where you have to climb things?
I don't climb outside all that much. It's indoor climbing, and I do like it, but it's just like, you got to drive 2 hours and you have all the gear, and I love to ski, and I do that in the winter time, but then like in the summer it's a whole nother thing. So
I'm just imagining
on the climbing treadmill, basically.
Like, you think of like Manitou's Revenge, or like some of those like really technical trail ultras where there's a lot of like hoisting yourself up over crazy things or parts of the cut. Like, I don't know. I'm just imagining that you could be like, gosh, like throw yourself over or something. Just be like, I don't know. Whereas I would be like, hold on, let me just put my cane here and step up over here. So it just makes me like wonder, like, oh, you probably do like so well in like some of the really like technical kind of terrain stuff.
I like climbing a lot. Yeah. Like run climbing a lot. I like to climb hills. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Have you been to Katahdin by any chance or no?
Yeah. So I went to Maine.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
So I lived 45 minutes from Acadia and definitely didn't appreciate it as well as I should have. But I hiked Katahdin twice when I was living up there. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Cool. I just went there for my first time, and I was just floored by how beautiful that was. And
yeah, it's beautiful. I did it twice, and the first time I went, it was like clear and unbelievable, but that normally it's like you can't see much at all.
Yeah. I didn't see shit, but we got just a glimpse when we were down off of, I forget what you call it, but when we were off of the Maine, not the Knife's Edge, but we came up on the AT, but when you hit the bottom of the major climb, I forget what that's called, where it kind of flattens out a little bit. Right there, it started to clear up so we could see what we could have, how we could have died. I'm sorry, what's that?
Pond?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's what it was. So it was, but yeah, it was beautiful stuff. So, tell us about how did your race go then for
Stone Cat?
So just really quick, went back. I signed up for Big Brad Ultra at Bradbury. Trail Monsters Running puts it on as like a prep race, and this race was a 50K. Of course, it was really at 34 miles, more extra miles, but that was 50K and a lot harder in a short amount of time. And I signed up for Stone Cat, hearing all of these things. Oh, it's very runnable, easy terrain. Obviously 50 miles, it's the biggest I've done besides my backyard, but it was hard. 4 loops, like loop 1 was great. I was running with someone I knew. It was dark. It was the first time doing it. Lap 2, like mentally, I struggled on lap 2, and I heard a lot of people struggled on lap 2. Because knowing I have to go for lap 3 and lap 4.
Well, you're starting to do like the math as well. We're like, okay, so it wasn't just a fluke. Like, this is how long the loop is, which means this is how many extra miles I have. And sometimes it just gets and just sticks in your head.
For the entire time. Yeah. And you kind of have it in your head at lap 2, but then lap 3 and lap 4 is like, I don't even know how long I'm supposed to be running until that aid station.
Yeah, that was the one. I have to say that threw me more than anything, was finding that aid station, because I would be okay,
longer and longer.
Yes, I could have sworn that they moved it each time, because I'm like, what the heck?
Because you okay, so I'm on the single track part, then I come out to the flat part where it's double track, and I'm running and I'm cooking, and I know I'm going to come around the bend and I'm going to look up and there's going to be that tent up on the hill, and then I'm
darn if they moved it to the next hill.
I'm going back on single track. Oh, okay, but now I'm on the road, so now I'm going to run around the corner and find it. No, fuck, I'm back on the single track. and it was like, oh my god, it was killing me, because then I'm like starting whatever. At the end, I'm fighting cutoffs, which was bizarre. I'm fighting cutoffs and I'm like, fuck, I got this, I think. And then I'm like, oh God, this is going to be
I don't know if I got
close.
this.
Yeah. So it was quite a challenge. So,
well, yeah. So I was running with Ian. I know you talked to Ian possibly.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And he ran Big Brad as well. And we were running together and he ran through the first aid station first lap. And like, I knew he was a stronger runner than me, but lap 3, I like see him in the distance, the single track, and I eventually catch up to him and pass him. And he's like, I don't know if I can go back out. And I'm like, oh, wow. Cause like 40 people dropped.
Yeah.
Like easy.
So what do you think it was? What made that hard? Right. Cause it didn't, as I was running, I didn't think it was that hard. I was like, I got this. And it didn't seem that hard, but I wasn't running quickly for whatever reason,
I think a lot of people, well, what Ian said, he had run the marathon before, and he said that there was a lot more double track, and this had a lot more single track, and it was a lot slower and a lot harder of a course. I don't know if everyone anticipated something different and had training, in the morning at bib pickup. I heard someone say like, oh, I'm doing this, like, I don't know if I'm ready, it's only $25, might as well just go for it. So I don't know if a lot of people signed up, and it's not a big race entry fee.
No, that's a good point that you make, that I do think too. It's like when you, besides having that it's a loop and you have that opportunity several times to be like, do I want to, when you've got this entry fee, which is awesome, that's really low. And like the money's going to a great place and whatever, that you're just a little bit more like, whatever. It's $25.
And you're not missing out on,
it's not right.
some medal or something,
Yeah. It's, and did you find it to be, in years past, it started at 6 a.m. and this year it started at 5 a.m. and I really struggled in the dark. Did you find it to be really dark? Like, I don't know if it was just like with the moon and everything, but it just, besides running in the dark, it just was really dark out. I had a lot of trouble.
I was fine. Marking was like incredible.
Yeah, it was.
I was running with people until that mid-aid station, and then after I was solo. But there was markings like so frequently, except the very end where they like blew all away. I don't know if you ran into that, and they had.
Yeah, where there's a bunch that were like on the ground, and
I turned around because there were markings every like so often. And I'm like in my head, and I turned around and I ran into a guy right away, and he's like, "No, I think you're good," and I was fine.
Yeah, I knew that it was the only one that I saw was that last little loop. Well, two things happened. One, I was like on point on the trail, like I wasn't getting lost at all, and then all of a sudden I'm following Becky. She's got her super reflective jacket on that like blinded everybody on the fucking course. And like all of a sudden I'm like, hey, I don't see any markers. Becky's like, I don't see any markers. I think we're off. And I said, no, we're not. I've been following you the whole time. We're on course.
And I was like, no, but I think I'm off course. And Art said it like 2 or 3 times. And you said it so like, you were so like, just like confident. You're like, no, but we would definitely not, because I have been following you the exact whole way. I'm like, right, I know you have, but I think I went off course. You no, you haven't gone off course because I've been following you and I've been going exactly where you're going. And I'm like, but I've been going the wrong way.
Oh,
it was just so. And then whenever we like kind of like found our way, we were like so excited, and then we like saw people, and I was like, so, it was so funny. No, we can't possibly be going the wrong way because I was following you.
It was classic. I have to say that was classic. So I have to say this though, I did get did you get the note from I forgot whether it was an email or whether it was a Facebook that Patrick sent out? Yeah. So just so that people know, so this Patrick Karen, who's the race, one of the race directors, sent out a note that said, listen, I just want to apologize. There was a misunderstanding about the race distance, in that the GPS file that he had showed it to be the correct distance. And as it turned out, it was consistently, everybody measures a little bit differently, but it was consistently long. And that I know a lot of people can just laugh off that as bonus miles and it's no big deal. But for other people who had trained for specific distances, it was a big deal for them, and it played on them heavily. And he apologized. And I got to say, I already had a lot of respect for him, but I thought that was a stand-up thing that he
totally
did.
He could have said nothing. He had a little comment in posts earlier about the extra mileage, but he a week later had sent that out, and I thought that was huge.
No, that was nice. And I think, it is hard. I think, especially for the 100K people, where I hadn't realized this, but that originally the 100K was getting, I think, 17 hours. And then there was something had happened where the site, whether it was a school or whatever, had said, okay, we need to have you guys wrapped up and off the premises by this time instead. So the 100K went from getting, I think, a 17 or an 18-hour cutoff to a 14. Wow. And that's a big, so that's a big difference, like a 14-hour cutoff for 100K. And then you've got, so I think for some people it's like, oh gosh, now my cutoff is shorter. And then when you add for, for a 5 loop, you're adding anywhere between, 5 and 7.5 miles. I know I got 55.5 miles. Other people got 54. I think everybody got at least 54 that did the 4 loops. So, the people doing the 5 loops were getting anywhere from 67 to 70, and so, so it does add up, especially when you've got, 3 less hours. So
especially when you're running 20-minute miles. Right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, it's obviously not something he did, whatever. And I was so grateful that he, put the course on again, and that he was, using it as a way to raise funds for some good causes and organizations and stuff. So I heart you, Patrick.
Yeah. He also said he's going to modify it for next year to get the, to correct it. So, that's, I don't know. That's everything that you could possibly ask for it, instead of telling everybody to fuck off. Right. I mean, which I would have been it's bonus miles, come on, suck it up, Buttercup.
Well, and it was funny because the mid-aid station, my last loop, the last time stopping there, I'm like, hey, by the way, how long is the 50 miler? And he's 50 miles. He's I know what it's going to be. Awesome, kudos on your Strava. And he totally brushed it off.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, whatever.
That was Josh. I think Josh was shoveling some good shit for everybody out there. He told me, I said, because I was running, it was my last one, and I knew, if it was an extra mile, it was going to mean that I wasn't going to make it to the official cutoff. And if I was wrong. So I just wanted to know, hey, can I run 15-minute miles and do this, in the dark at the end? And I said, so how far is it to the end? And he's like, when you get to the end, you'll be finished. I was like, that's not the fucking question. Answer the question. But, and then I think Tony came out and gave me the straight shit. But that aid station was off the hook. And
it was amazing.
Yeah, it really was. It was like going to a fine restaurant where they're like, okay, so today we have 4 different kinds of pickle juice in different sized containers with what are your side snacks that you're having with that?
They were making charcuterie cookies with gummy worms.
Oh, yes.
Top. I ended up eating too much on, I think, the third loop because they had like fresh quesadillas and all this stuff, and I just couldn't say no.
Those were handcrafted. They actually they had lifesavers that they actually enlarged the hole in the lifesaver so that they could fit a gummy worm through it. Is what I'm hearing. The backstory on some of this stuff. So yeah, there was some graduate level shit going on there. So, hey Jake, I am so fancy. Sorry, but we gotta get going here.
You're good.
Yeah, but congratulations on a great race. You finished in like 11:32, which is pretty awesome.
That's great. Good for you.
I was right behind you just by a
couple hours.
Me too. Just a couple hours
I was right
behind
there. Like if this had been a little longer, I would have been a little further behind, probably.
There you go.
I was like, where's he going with that?
I'm just saying that I get to drop that. Don't be intimidated. But, that's how it is. But thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me, everyone.
All right.
Thanks, Jake.
Jake.
I'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
Good night.
Take care. Okay.
Aww.
Very cool.
It's like weird having like people on quick because then you're like, you get sad. You're like, but I don't want you to leave.
No,
you're just warming
leave
up.
Me now.
Right? Baby, we haven't asked you half the questions.
I'm going to leave you.
We haven't even gotten to second base.
I know.
Wait, I thought you were the one anti-liquor.
Yeah, no licking. No licking.
See?
It's poor Tanya comes on as I'm saying no licking.
Sorry, Tanya.
So, Tanya, we have some base rules here. Apparently, there's no licking on this show. So
none. I'm an anti-liquor. Oh, I can't even. Now I'm getting the heebie-jeebies.
So, Tayna Holbrook, welcome to Cultra.
Hello.
Glad to have you here. How you doing today?
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
I love the flowers in the background.
I know, so cute.
Me channeling my spring and summer.
Yay.
Excellent. So, Tanya, where do you live?
I live up in Portland, Maine.
Another Portland.
All right. Nice. I live in Portland too. I live in Portland, Connecticut.
Oh, what a small world. Yeah.
Oh, see, she didn't say it.
So
usually everyone says, I didn't know there was a Portland, Connecticut.
I've traveled through I don't know if I've traveled through Portland, but I've traveled by Portland in Connecticut.
Yay.
So.
There you go.
Nice. All right. Yay. Well, I love Portland, Maine. I think it's beautiful. Let's go back. I do want to go back there.
Good. So
anyways.
So Tanya, how's it going? How long have you been involved with the Trail Monsters?
Let's see. I probably became a member probably back in 2017, but I had been running some of their races prior to that, and I actually started with volunteering at some of their ultra races. So such a great, wonderful, and welcoming community. It was just so great to get involved, and yeah.
Excellent. What is it that you like about the community there?
So one of the things about Trail Monsters is to become a member, you actually have to give back to the running community. And that includes, volunteering, trail maintenance and stuff like that. So I love that we're giving back to the trails that we run on, creating a community. We have volunteer days. I remember sorting through flags one of the first days. It doesn't sound fun, but it's something that supports, the group and everything. But the other wonderful thing is that even if you're not a member, they're so welcoming at their races, at their group runs. They have a Sunday group run that is called Oscar. It's OSGR. It's old school group run, and it's a no drop group. It's nobody's left behind. We always make sure that we regroup at intersections, or even if we've been running for a little bit. And something they also started this year, which I think is absolutely wonderful, is that they started along with the Oscar, is a group that's coming back from recovery, or maybe they've stopped running for a bit and are starting to come in. So we had a group that was walking through parts of spring and summer and even this fall, so that way it still was an Oscar group, run, it was amazing to still include all paces, because I've had some horrible experiences where I've joined a rowing group before and it says nobody left behind, and I got left behind, and it's not a great feeling. So the Trail Monsters actually absolutely embodies that. They also don't, discriminate if you're a road runner and you're just getting into trail running. Like, they're just an opening and welcoming community of all runners, all people, no matter, what your background is, where you're going. And they just love the community. It's absolutely fabulous.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
But that does sound really cool.
And it does stink, like being like where you're, as I know, it used to happen to me a bunch. And when I was cycling, where I joined like this like new ride, and I wouldn't really know anyone, and they'd be like, don't worry, like nobody gets dropped. And I'd be like, oh, good. Because, I never run in this town, or I never ride in this town, or I don't, and then all of a sudden you like get up to a 4-way intersection and you're like, where is everybody? Do I just stay here and wait for them to come back, or do I just go a certain way? And I don't know. And it is that like horrible feeling when you're like, everybody left me.
It really is horrible.
But it's such a nice feeling when the opposite, like when they, even though they say, I've been to runs and rides where they're like, we are not going to leave anybody behind. And that they're not, but yet you still like that warm and fuzzy feeling you get when you kind of like turn that corner and everybody's like waiting, like, yay, and all excited and happy to see you and stuff. It's like, oh, yay, I'm so excited.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh.
Very good. So Tanya, why did you sign up? What was it about Stone Cat that made you want to do that?
Okay. So it actually was from kind of has like a backstory about some Trail Monster friends. I was not a Trail Monster at the time. I had been looking for my first 50 back in like 2016, and some friends were like, oh, dude, Stone Cat, it's lovely, it's fantastic. So I ended up running my first 50 at Stone Cat, ran it again the following year, and I just loved it. I love the trail running community, anywhere I've been in Massachusetts or New Hampshire, TARC, GAC, they've just been so amazing. And I hadn't been back since 2017. And I had hoped to get back to Stone Cat, and then was devastated when I heard that it wasn't going to be around anymore. So when, Patrick Karen was able to bring it back as part of TARC, I was so excited. So many Trail Monsters were like, we're signing up. Like, it opened, and we all started this little group, and we're like, we're going to do it. So it was kind of like, yeah, let's do this. Because honestly, it was kind of silly. I was signing up after, trying to attempt a Big Brad Ultra 50 miler, the next week a Ghost Train, and then just taking a couple weeks off for Stone Cat. So it was silly, but it was like, everybody's doing it. Let's sign up.
I know you can't not. Like, everybody's making the same poor choice, so I'm going to make it too now.
So did you do Ghost Train as well, or?
I did, yes.
Oh, okay. So what did you do at Ghost Train?
I ended up stopping at 52 and a half. Mm-hmm. I actually started the race injured. I got injured in the 50 the week before, and I timed out. So, but yeah, it's the amazing things that we still try.
Yeah. So then how did your Stone Cat go?
Well, as you know, I started that as injured, but it was amazing. I started out with some Trail Monster friends. They let me lead the way. So totally got beat up on the course. Brushels hitting my skin, and, within the first mile. So I was like, oh my gosh, Stone Cat's already beating me up. But it was absolutely fabulous. I had a good time, but I did stop after one loop. Because when I realized that the 50 miler was pretty much a mile longer than the 12 and a half mile,
right?
Being an injured girl, I was like, this is not a smart decision to continue. So what I did was I actually did not finish. I was going to go out for another loop, but I ended up just sitting at the Trail Monsters. We put up a little support group tent, and it was actually fabulous because I got to cheer on all my other friends who were running Trail Monsters or non-Trail Monsters. We were there for all of them. It was absolutely fabulous. We had friends who did the half we had friends who did the 10K. We had the friends who did marathon and the 50 miler. It was amazing to be able to sit there and cheer for them as they go through each loop, asking them what they needed. I remember grabbing into my drop bag on someone's third loop, trying to find my tailwind because they just needed to change their nutrition and what else could I give them, and grabbing them fig bars. And so it was absolutely fabulous to kind of start the run and not have it go the way I wanted, but to sit there and be able to support the friends who were running, which was still absolutely fabulous.
That's so
excellent.
good.
I know that you guys had such a great tent there, and we were your rude next door neighbors, because like we got set up, and I looked over and I was like, oh, trail animals, that looks cool. Fuck it, I gotta put Desitin on my feet. Or I was like, I gotta just like, I was all about me and making sure that like, I didn't forget my shoes or whatever. and then I was like, oh, I can't wait to talk to them afterwards. But by the time I finished, like everybody was packed up, and it was like hardly anybody there. No. Because it was, it was dark, and but I think that you may have gotten I think Tony Bonanno, who was with the Cultra tent, like we were just to the left of, we were right next door to you guys. And I know that our friend Tony ran, and he was well ahead of us, but he twisted his ankle. So he dropped after the first loop, and we saw him there when we came through, and we're, I don't know. He helped us to finish, because then he would go to the table, and then he would go to the aid station and kind of drive back and forth. I don't know how he
got to those. Like, I was always like, how are you here? Like,
he probably ran back.
He probably did.
Wait, on a bad ankle. How did he do that? I don't know. Don't ask.
But your group everybody was so like, whenever I would go through, you guys were always like cheering and everything. I'm like, oh, yay. So I appreciated it. I thought it was really lovely. So,
yeah.
And I mean, did you feel like the course, having done the prior course, did it seem harder to you?
I definitely think it was harder. And I think that, myself included and some other people, we probably thought it was going to be a little bit more runnable, but it was definitely more single track and switchbacking, rocks and roots. So you had to watch your feet. And so I think that there was that unexpected of, oh, this is not as easy as I remember it being before.
I was used to remember the course used to, and I always liked this because it kind of like forced people to not run really fast, but that first mile was like uphill, and you were like winding, and it was just like this long line of headlamps that you could just see twisting and turning. And it was just nice because it was one of those uphills where it went on for like a quarter mile. So like you had those people that would be like, oh, rushing by you, and you're like, okay, in about 20 feet, you're going to be walking. And then sure enough, they'd be walking. But it was just like that nice, like everybody's walking up this hill. And when we started, I was like, okay, where's the hill? Okay, where's the hill? Like, and then I'd be like, oh, this is it. And then I'd go to like walk, and it would only be like a couple feet. And then I'd be like, I gotta run again. But I was like waiting for that. I think I wasn't expecting the course to be so different. So like I was like we've always run by the car, but never like right by the car. It's like you could see the car in the way, like distance, but not right in front of you. And then it felt like to me there was more spots where depending on where other people were, you weren't like crossing over paths, but you could see the people that were in front or behind you kind of going another way. Yeah. And that was throwing me off, because I'm like, oh, you don't usually see that in that course unless it's right at the beginning and right at the end. So that was kind of like throwing me off, where I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, that was the only part of the course that I have to say I loved the course, the whole thing. The only part that I didn't like was that mountain bike course section where there was all that jackassing around.
You could see everybody like in front and behind you, like all over the place, and you couldn't kind of figure out where they were.
I didn't mind that, because I saw Hundo Joe Lasky on that one time, where where the trail goes really close to the other direction. And he was like 5 minutes ahead of me, but he was like right there. So I got to talk to him, and eventually did catch up and was able to run with him for a while. But I think it was right before you passed him back.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was him, because I came up and I was like, is that Joe? And I was like, I don't think it is. And then I was like, hey, good job. But I wasn't like super loud, and they didn't say anything back, but I wasn't like really loud, and I wasn't really confident that it was him. I was like, because every person I was like, oh, that must be so-and-so. And I was never right with any person I thought was anyone. So,
and you didn't smack him on the butt or anything, right?
Well, I did, but we don't want to talk about that.
Okay. All right. That's fair. So Tanya, what do you got? What's next for you? You have anything you're going to kind of recover for the winter, or what are you thinking?
Yeah. So I do have a big goal race in May. But to get there, we're just going to do little things, going to do the frozen 30-hour, the Yeti. And in all honesty, I'm really allergic to the cold. I break out in hives. So do you really? Yes.
My daughter's also allergic she has to carry Epi Pen because of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because of the cold?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
And I've got
Is it just your circulation? Do tell, if you don't mind me asking.
For me, it's totally just some weird, like, it's if it touches my skin. It's also, for me, it worsens when I exercise, because I have something called exercise-induced urticaria. And so when you put both of them together, I've gotten so many anaphylaxis reactions from running in the cold. So I actually learned to run in a mask, and it was actually, so I did the frozen Yeti for the first time last year, again, due to the same friends who got me to Stone Cat. But I was so bundled because it was that day where it was negative 29-degree wind chill. And like, I was just so bundled and none of my face was covered that I was like, oh my God, I feel so great. This is wonderful. I was like, layers.
So what is it you have exercise induced?
So I have cold urticaria, which I've had multiple anaphylaxis to. I've had it by swimming in the ocean and being outside. I get just the hives. But I have an exercise induced anaphylaxis as well. Like my blood pressure will drop. I'll get dizzy. My heart rate will start going up. My pulse ox will drop. Can't breathe. Like I remember a friend like going, get down on the ground. Like there's been times there just it can be scary. Yeah. But the biggest thing for me is I have to stay relaxed, take a medication, and make sure I have my Epi in. And if I need the Epi, I've got to take the Epi.
That just makes you so much tougher. Yeah. Like how cool is that? You know what I would do is, as I was getting to the finish, I just maybe like, even if I wasn't feeling that, just be like, listen, I might have to take it out. Just take out the Epi Pen. I mean, you have to flex that because that's super cool. Like that's
you want to race? Come on, I'll hit it. I'll shoot this shit right in my head right now, and we'll see who wins.
It's go time.
It's go time. Okay, I have a question. Do any of your friends try and get you to anaphylaxis so they can stab you? Because that's my friends. Like their goal is to stab me with my Epi Pen.
Those are not good friends if they.
I don't think I'd be able to tell them
that, but
all right. So what I'm hearing is my friends are the worst.
Oh gosh,
wow.
They are. I do have a few that are so willing to be the first person to stab me. So, but they don't want to get me there.
So, do you have, from the other perspective, like do you have any troubles running in like high heat or high humidity?
So I'm really great in dry weather. Like I don't have these issues as much when I go out to Colorado. Like my body loves the elevation, the dryness. It's wonderful. I have had anaphylaxis running in the summer, but it's more exercise induced, where it's if I have an out, like if I had peanuts or almonds, but I'm not allergic to peanuts or almonds when I don't exercise. It's only
it's just those ones I put into your drink when you weren't looking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Well, Tanya, that's incredible that because ultra running's challenging enough for people. And the fact that you do this, even though you have these other challenges, because a lot of people might be, I would, how many people do we talk about are running to? Like everybody, of course. And they tell us things like, oh, I couldn't drive that far, or I give you so much credit for getting out there.
Oh, I can't run in the cold.
My knees are bad.
And you're like, you can't run in the cold. Let me tell you about Tanya.
Yeah. So like, okay, so I'm sorry that your knees hurt, but by the way, I'm allergic to the cold, okay? And it doesn't stop me. So
do you draw strength from that? Like, sorry, like we're probably like perseverating on this one thing. I just find it so, not that I'm finding it cool, like in your, but it just, I don't know. I mean, I guess each person takes things differently, but like, I feel like so much more powerful just knowing you and knowing that you have this thing. Like, I'm like, that's awesome. I mean, it's not awesome, but
you almost died. That's really cool.
No, but like that you can like, just, I don't know. Like I
find
a
way to like make it work.
Yeah. I think it's
very empowering.
Yeah. And I think it kind of like was this weird thing that happened. Like it was originally from, my asthma inhaler wouldn't work while I was running. And I actually was allergic to something that was in it. And so it would make my asthma work and like a lot worse. And I was like, I gotta run. Like, I think I was training for a marathon. And I was like, I can't let myself down. So I stopped using my inhaler and learned how to run through asthma attacks. Cause I used to hear about how some elites would cause themselves to have an asthma attack, but then you don't have one for another 4 to 6 hours. So I was like, if they can do it, I can do it. But then when I found out it was anaphylaxis, and I was like, oh, like I've done this before. So I sometimes am like, oh, just stay calm. It's fine. And so like, it's almost like, hey, you've done this before. You've been through this hardship. You know, if you stay relaxed, it's not like, if I panic, I start to not really breathe. And then you really need the Epi Pen. But if I can stay relaxed, calm down, I'll stop. Like I've had it multiple times. Like I remember my first 100. I didn't know at the time until afterwards that I couldn't even take my inhaler. I couldn't breathe. My voice was hoarse. I was a little swollen and but I stayed calm, relaxed, went out and continued walking, and it seemed to be fine for me. And it's really scary because anaphylaxis is life-threatening. And so I never want to tell someone like, oh, you can just push through it. But I kind of had to listen to my body. And I'm like, but if you can listen to your body, you might actually know if you're okay. So like, for instance, I carry certain medication with me so that if I'm out in the middle of the woods and I'm really having an anaphylaxis and I can't take the Epi because you have to be within 20 minutes of a hospital, I'll take the medication to see, is this instant or can this get me out? I might have to take the Epi in 20 minutes, but this medication is going to help me get to where I can be to successfully get somewhere. So it was really learning. And so, yes, it's kind of empowering, but at the same time, I feel guilty because I'm like, oh, I don't want to tell people to like push through an anaphylaxis reaction, but mine are kind of not true allergies because they're not those IgEs of food allergies that everybody knows about. Mine is my body, just my immune system just going, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. This is too.
But it sounds like part of what I hear from what you're saying is that it almost sounds like part of your like pushing through it is almost like that pushing through to be calm. Like I'm pushing through to get to the calmness. So instead of where I think a lot of us, when we think push through it, it's like push through the pain, like push past this, ignore it. It sounds like your pushing through is almost the opposite, where it's like getting calm and listening to what you're doing and pushing past kind of like the frazzle. So like that just, I think that seems really cool. And, so again, if we're out running and I happen to put some almonds in your drink and take out the pen.
So I know who wants to stab me. It's okay.
But I also think
so
it's
listen,
so cool.
Patreon people, we're gonna have a new contest. We get to decide who gets to stab Tanya. So no, just kidding.
Well, one of the things that you said was that if elites can do it, then so can I. or something along those lines. And I just think that's so cool because where do you normally hear someone's like, listen, if an elite can do this, I could totally do it. Like, I think that's like awesome. I mean,
especially someone who runs 30, 32 hour 100 milers. Yeah, I wouldn't put myself in the same boat as elites, but yeah.
But no, but it's I think that's great because to a certain, it's like kind of like if elite runners can do marathons, like we're not elite runners, why can't we do marathon? You know what I mean? It's like that same kind of thing. So I just like that. That's like the quote of the night for me. If elites can do it, so can I.
That's right. So Tanya, thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's been really nice to talk to you, and we'd love to spend more time talking to you, but unfortunately we got to get going here. Glad that you could be a part of that Trail Monster community and let us all know a little bit more about that.
And hopefully we'll see you at a race.
Yeah. I'll have an Epi Pen ready.
Yes. Yes, I will be at Riverlands in May. That's my goal race.
Yes, I saw. I looked it up.
Yes,
excellent.
I spied it. I was like, which one is it? So yay!
Excellent.
Yay. So all of a sudden you're somewhere and you see like 4 people behind you with like these like little like sharp pens or daggers. You'll know it's us.
Why are you stabbing me with a fountain pen? That's not even an Epi Pen. I don't know. I just wanted the experience. I mean, come on, we're trying.
Oh, that's funny.
So excellent. Well, Tanya, thanks again. And have a great night, and hope to see you out there soon. So
yes, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Good night, everyone.
Thank you
so
so much.
Good night now.
Good night.
Yay. That was so cool. If elites
can
do it, so can I.
And she's a good sport too, because we're kind of like, I mean, people could take
taking
our
the train off the track,
right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, although I'm a little jealous that her friends don't want to stab her. Like, is it just me?
Hi, Lila.
Yeah.
Hi.
Joining us now is Lila Gaudreau. Welcome, Lila.
Thank you so much for having me.
Glad to have you here. So, just a little bit of background for people. So, Lila's joining us now. Everybody that we talked to.
We should have her tell us.
No, you don't know what I'm going to say. So how's she going to tell us?
Fine.
So
she might be telling us the recipe for chocolate chip cookies.
It could be. Yes. Lila has
that might surprise you.
So most of the people that we talked to were involved with the 50-mile race. And
okay.
Lila did not run the 50-mile race. She ran and won the 100K race.
Yeah.
So Lila,
excellent.
and there's so much to to unpack tonight. So
yes.
Lila, first of all, welcome to Cultra. Glad to have you here.
Thank you. Very glad to be here.
Yeah, and Lila even said when I threw out an invitation to her, she's like, "Oh yeah, I like you guys. I'm a fan." And I was like, "Holy shit, this is great!"
Wow.
You passed me out on the course at some point, and it was
and
so
everybody else.
I just once I saw the article that they sent me and I put 2 and 2 together. I was like, oh, that's who it was. And I was like the person that shocking. I know. When you passed, I was like overly excited for you. Like I was like, hey, and then I was like, oh, yeah. Like, and then I'm like, okay, calm down. Like, I don't know why, but I just was like, you just like looked good and fresh and whatever. And so I was like super
Thank you
for that, like
I
10 seconds.
appreciated all the support throughout the day. It definitely kept me going.
Yeah. So just to kind of put this in perspective. So, and I'm trying to figure out the trail math on this. So, so each loop was a little bit longer. Okay. Yes. It was about a mile-ish longer. And, and so that all the 50-mile people did 4 loops and you did 5 loops. But,
yeah, what was your mile? What did you get on your watch?
I got like 68.4, which I think was similar to what other people got in the 100K. So it was definitely more like 110K, which I wasn't really prepared for, but it's okay.
Yeah, so then that makes sense.
Big difference.
6.4 more, and I did the 50 and I got 5.5 more. So see, Our math was the right math. So Tony B, suck it.
So, Lila, before we talk about the 100K, I kind of want to go back a little bit, if it's all right, and kind of talk about some of your history and stuff. So, you've been running for quite a while, I understand, and as a high schooler, I noticed that you won as a sophomore. You won in cross country. You were the state champion, right?
Yes.
And then you repeated that as Class B state champion as a junior in high school too. Mm-hmm. So first of all, what was that experience like to be to be the best in the state at for cross country? What was that like, or what was your cross country experience like?
Yeah, so I got into cross country in middle school, kind of just because my friends were running, and before then I never really had an interest in running, but I realized I loved it pretty quickly. And yeah, by high school I wanted to be as competitive as I could. And so I really loved cross country. It was a huge part of my life in high school. Mm-hmm. And Maine is like, I live in Maine. We're split up into 3 classes, and I was in Class B. So I think both my sophomore and junior year, I was like 2nd or 3rd in the whole state. Like I won my division, but I didn't win like the whole state. So, and yeah, so I loved it. But ultimately I realized it wasn't what I wanted to pursue in college.
Yeah. So to kind of complete the little story that I'm stringing along here. So you won it in sophomore year, you won it in junior year. And then when it came time for your senior year, you decided not to run cross country that year. So, and I understand it was to run longer, that you wanted to pursue other running things. Is that right?
Yeah, I had been kind of planning to run in college throughout high school. Like as a freshman or sophomore, if you had asked me, I would have been like, yeah, I'm all in. I want to run Division I and run fast times and everything. Mm-hmm. But I always kind of knew in the back of my mind, like after college, I wanted to do ultras. And then my junior year, I had like some college visits lined up, and that was when COVID hit, and I didn't have like a track season or anything. And I kind of just started running a lot more on my own. And I don't know, I had like a realization that it wasn't what I wanted to do anymore. Like I was tired of the really competitive culture and all the pressure that came with it. And I kind of decided just to jump right into ultras. So I stopped running cross country, and I ran my first 50K the following year.
Gotcha. Wow. I mean, I could see that, because it is a, going in as a senior in high school, and after, I can just imagine, or I can't imagine the pressure that you feel on a team when you have the bullseye on your back, and when you're the number one runner, and then you're looking at the other stuff, and, Division I, the people that I've talked to who have run competitively like that, it is, it's an awful lot of pressure and stuff. I mean, was that kind of like a lot of what it was that you kind of decided wasn't for you, or?
Yeah, it was kind of a combination of one, like the pressure and not wanting that anymore. And also just really loving the long distances more. Like I've never had a lot of like speed. So but I can run for a long time without getting tired at like a moderate effort. So I wanted to kind of push myself in that way.
Yeah. I mean, so just to put this in perspective, so you ran 68.4 miles in 10 hours and 49 minutes.
You really do it in 10:49?
It was 10:49. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
10:49.
I was so excited to break 10:50. I didn't think I was going to break 11, and then
that's amazing.
I was a little faster than I expected.
So, and I would say that I was like right on your heels, finishing my 50 miler at like 13:59:57 and a half.
Oh wow. And it was a 14-hour cutoff, right?
That's right. Yes. So
wow.
I beat the I knew that with about, like, I knew it for about 7 miles at least, probably more than that. But then I knew when you hit the car, reportedly that was about a mile, the old rusty car, the one with the Cultra Trail running magnets on it.
Thank you. That was me.
Thanks, Beck. that was about a mile off of the finish line. So I hit that, and I had my time of, because I was going to make the cutoff because they started 2 minutes after the hour, but I wanted to make it before 7:00 at night because, like, I couldn't have imagined that it was ever possibly would take me that long.
Yeah, I know.
But I was like, okay, I'm going to make this. And so I kind of gunned it and literally made it with 2.5 seconds to spare. So,
wow.
Had it all the way, Art. Had it all the way.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't want to exert myself. So it was just but so it's amazing that that was like 54 miles and that you did 68 in like 4 hours less. So that's like, oh my gosh. So
have you was that year, and you might have already said this, I apologize. Had you done that distance before, or was this your first time at that distance?
So this was my first time racing 100K, but last December I did an FKT on the Eastern Trail in Southern Maine, which was 65 miles. So I'd run like the distance before, but this was the first time like formally racing it.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Wow. So what did you feel like was the big difference? Like, or did there feel like a difference from, going out for a, getting an FKT versus being in a race?
I mean, there are definitely a lot of differences. I think the main one was just having a lot more like support throughout the day, like all the aid stations and all the people cheering for me along the way. When I did the FKT, I had like 2 people crewing for me, which was awesome. And they were so supportive, but it's definitely a different atmosphere when it's like there are hundreds of people there doing the same thing as you. So I really liked that.
Yay.
Gotcha. So were you running with, were you and Matt running together or in the early miles, it looks like?
Yeah, the first loop I was with kind of a big group of 50-mile and 100K runners. And I don't even know who I was with. It was so dark. We were all just kind of like trying to stay on course. And then Matt and I were running together the second loop. And then I think I got a little bit ahead after that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just
like, see you, Matt.
If it's all right, I'd like to just take a moment and kind of recognize the people who finished the 100K, because it was quite an elite group, just to be able to do that. So Lila, you were first, then Matt Ridley or Ridley or Ridley. No, sorry, I got it probably. We have James Eretz from Cambridge, Kevin McDonald, looks like Michael O'Bara, Eli Converse. So, and then maybe Arnaldo Arnal. It says he was a DNF, but I see that there's 4 times listed for his laps, or 5 laps listed. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but it looks like he did quite a bit of it. And I know that the time allowed for the race also was reduced because of situation beyond the race director's control. So I just want to recognize all those people. Also, Stephen Fleck too, and Stephen did some artwork for us a while back. He did.
I was wondering. I'm like, wait, Stephen Fleck.
Yeah, he did the
awesome.
Dog Gent.
Yay.
He did one of the Dog Gent logos a while back. So it's weird because afterwards, a lot of times you see all the names and stuff, and sometimes you don't get a chance to actually see these people during the race. Like one thing. So question for you, did you get to run, I don't know if you were able to run it all with Ryan Williams and Matt Pacheco?
They were the leaders of the 50.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they were
I might have. There were a couple of guys in the 50-mile that went out right away, and I didn't see them at all. So
yeah.
They might have been miles ahead.
Yeah, I saw Matt at the starting line and then saw him. I had a prediction with Becky where I said, I bet Matt passes us. Like, I'm going to give him, like, we're going to be at a lap and a half and he's going to lap us. And it was almost like on cue. I think we had just gotten
I
out
was
of
like,
the aid
no,
station.
I'm like, it'll be like 3 laps.
Yeah,
and
that's what Becky
it was
said.
not 3 laps.
No.
Which that doesn't even make any sense math wise. Like, how could that be like, yeah. But can I just also point out that Lila is very paced because I'm looking at your splits and I hear all of your laps were so much faster than mine. Sorry, that wasn't what was the funny part, although it's really funny. You did almost like 2 hours exact, then 2:02, 2:11, 2:20, 2:15. Those are really paced. And your last lap was 5 minutes faster than the one before it.
I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
Whenever I've done looped races, my last loop has always been significantly slower. So I don't know how that happened.
Well, yeah, that's awesome.
But it probably wasn't dark either for her, right, Beck? She was probably in before it was dark.
Well, no. Oh, I thought you meant like at the beginning. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure everybody had the same darkness at 5 a.m.
No, she probably had to run 2 laps in the dark in the beginning.
Yeah, so you finished in the light of day, right?
Yeah. It was.
We didn't know
like 4 p.m. or so. Hadn't quite gotten dark.
Very good.
Wow. And over an hour ahead of second place.
Yeah. That's super exciting. I was very excited in case you didn't notice when you passed me.
I appreciate it.
Do you have like, are you more into FKTs or are you more into races or are you more into like just doing runs that are like just an experience, like just kind of like going out and creating a course and doing it? Or
yeah, I would say I'm most interested in racing. That's like my favorite, but I am looking to do more FKTs for sure. I think that's really fun it's like you can set it up on your own. It's more unstructured. And then, I also love to just like go on like fun adventure runs. But yeah, racing is definitely number one.
So do you have another race that you're planning?
My next one, I'm doing the Millinocket Marathon in a couple weeks. Yeah, and then that's the only one on my calendar for now. I've raced a lot of like 50K, 50 milers this fall, so it's kind of an off season in the winter. But I'll see what comes up.
Gotcha.
Did you in college? I know you didn't like run collegiate, but were you part of like any like running clubs or like did your school have like running that you kind of like participated in and like more of a, I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm actually in college now. I'm a junior and I don't do any sort of team or anything. I'm pretty much just a solo runner. But yeah, I live off campus, so it's kind of hard to like be part of a club team. But yeah.
That's so awesome. Where do you mind me asking where you go?
UNE, University of New England in Portland, Maine.
Yes, that's a lovely school. Good for you, yay.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
I think I'll ask you this. Competing now like in this, ultra community and stuff, what kind of differences do you see versus when you were competing, at the high school level? Like what are the things that you notice the most as far as differences? I mean, beyond obviously the course is shorter, longer.
I think the biggest difference is just like how much less pressure I feel. It's like, it's amazing. Like I don't get nervous before races at all. I'm just like excited to run and enjoying it. And whereas in high school, I would be like sick to my stomach and everyone around me is like terrified. And it's just like, I don't know. I didn't love the atmosphere of it all the time. And at these ultras, it's like everyone's happy to be there and it's just a community. So that's something that I love about it. And
did they give you a hard time when you didn't run in your senior year?
Nobody gave me a hard time, which was really nice.
It was COVID too. right?
Yeah. And I think the state meet actually ended up getting canceled that year. They had like a regular season and then it kind of got shut down near the end. But my coach had asked me a few times, like, why aren't you running? Like, you should be running. But yeah, overall, people were pretty supportive, I think.
Gotcha. Okay, good. I think it's important, though, that good for you for doing something, for making the choice that was right for you.
Yeah.
And because a lot of times people just get shoved into, they kind of get on this train and get in this mindset that like, yeah, this is what I got to do, or
right.
this is the course that I'm on. And, the sooner we learn that, I don't know, that we have to do what feels right for us, then, I think the better off we are. So,
yeah, for sure.
I think it's hard to do in high school too, because you sort of just, you're young and you have to have a lot of self-possession and poise to say like, this isn't me. I don't want to keep on this track. I want to do what I want to do. So good for you.
It also opened up a lot of doors like outside of running. Like when I was thinking of running in college, there was like a small type of school that I was looking for. Like I wanted a Division I school, but it couldn't be like too good. Like I wasn't getting into like Oregon or Colorado or any of like the powerhouse programs. But once I realized I wasn't going to run, it was like, oh, I can look at all these schools that maybe weren't Division I or maybe don't have a cross country team. So the school that I'm at now is Division III. I had never considered it before I made the decision not to run. So it opened up kind of a whole new world.
Excellent. And your parents, how did they, were they much involved in the decision, or what did that look like?
They kind of think I'm crazy. They don't really, nobody in my family runs. And they're like, they don't understand why I do these long distances. And it was hard for them at first because they thought that I was giving up like scholarship opportunities or like going to, like there was one school that would have been a good fit for me athletically, but would have been a reach academically. And they were like, you're giving up a lot here. If you don't run for them, like you might not get in. So I think they eventually came to terms with it. But at first it was like, whoa, this is kind of a major decision because running had been such a big part of my life in high school. And to not see it continue in the way that I've been doing it was kind of like a 180.
Gotcha. Well, I think as parents, everybody, we all like to see our kids succeed, right? And sometimes it's really hard to define what success is. And I think that when you're first, it's hard to say that that's not success, right? Like there's lots of other ways to succeed, but having, finishing in the front, in the lead is always something that you can say like, okay, that,
right.
And it may or may not be success. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people who do that, get injured, have, eating disorders and other, pressure induced things that just kind of, mess up their lives, due to this. So,
well, and it sounds like you knew what it was about running that brought you joy beyond the competition and the, coming in first or second or whatever. And I know just from my own experience of running in high school and then running in college, that so many of my friends that loved running and stuff, and they just got so burnt out from it and just gave it up, and because it was too much and it became not fun. And so I think that that's really cool that you wanted to keep it like really doing what you enjoy doing. And I love that you said that you love to compete, and because I love to compete too. And I think that's one of the neatest things about distance running, but particularly like ultras and particularly like trail ultras, where I don't, just in comparison to other races that I've done, where you can be around other people and everybody's competitive, but so many people are as competitive as they are. They're so excited for you as well. And I love that. Like, I love being in a race and being like, okay, I want to do this, but like, wanting that person around me to do really well too, even if they're really well means that they're beating me or vice versa. Like I just get like when you passed me, I was like, and obviously I knew you were lapping me, passing me, but I was like, yeah, like it totally like pumped me up. And so and that's the part of it that I love so much. And I think that's so cool that you're part of that. And yeah. So yay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to see more people kind of my age get into it, get into the longer distances, and not even necessarily get into the longer distances, but just realize that there's another path besides going straight from high school cross country into the NCAA, that there's different options. And yeah, I've also had people that I know start running in college and just kind of become burnt out and realize they don't love it as much. And I mean, I love running so much more than I did in high school. And I don't know, I just want people my age to see that there are different paths to take.
Awesome. Yeah. A lot of college programs, they'll throw you in there. They'll take their pack of people and just drive them into the ground and then see who survives. And then, if they survive without getting hurt, then,
great.
They're just kind of rolling the dice without having any consequences of it, where the runners end up paying the price for being injured and, and feeling bad because they're injured, which right. God, it can't be about that. Right. I mean, running's got to be something that you enjoy. And the fact that like you stuck with it, like it's one thing to like drop out of, or to move away from a competitive running program, but then to stay in it is awesome because you like, you're keeping it golden or something, it's like, it's great. That's really cool. So
are there, sorry.
Go ahead, Ben.
I think we're probably going to ask the same question. Are there certain races or certain distances or certain, terrain that you want to tackle that you kind of have a goal to?
Yeah, I feel like there's so many races I want to do. A big one on my list is the Vermont 100. I'm looking at doing that next summer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm dying to see your time at that.
I was actually signed up for the 100K this year, which obviously didn't happen. But next year I'm thinking of going for the 100 miles. So we'll see.
So then you have to do Run Amok. Yes.
I haven't
Run
heard
Amok
of that.
Run Amok's in April. It's the second weekend of April. It's in Vermont. And it does go along some of the same course as the Vermont 100. Okay. So it's like a perfect race to get you ready for the 100. And Jonathan is race director and he's awesome. And it's a super low price race, but they get like really fast people. So
okay. Well, you did the Vermont 50, right?
I did the Vermont 50. Yeah. So that got me a good preview of the course as well. It was so beautiful. Oh my gosh. So
well, hopefully I'll see you then at the 50K. And so then I can be like, hi, bye at the start. And then be off on it.
Or the Cut 112. You could always do that too.
Oh, yeah.
What time of year is that?
So that's the first weekend in June.
Okay.
It's 112 miles, starts in the border of Massachusetts and Connecticut and runs through the center of the state of Connecticut, ending at the Long Island Sound. So you cross the whole state. So it's an epic journey, to run across the whole state. So, and it's a smaller race. We've not a race. What is it, Fred?
It's an event.
It's
an event, a get together, a gathering.
People that wear race bibs.
Yeah.
By chance.
They happen to be wearing race bibs, but
that happens all the time in life. Sometimes you go to the store, you have a race bib on. It just happens, right?
That's right.
Sometimes you just put your race bib on to go to the store and pick up some milk and eggs.
Yes.
And you end up in Guilford.
Next thing you know, you're wading into the Sound.
That's right. You're jumping in the Long Island Sound. Right. That's where it ends, is right in the water. So people finish, go out to the beach and hit the water. And that's the finish line. So only rule is there's no sleeping allowed. So you have to run the whole thing in one effort. So.
But if you lay down on the ground in the fetal position for a couple minutes just to cry, it's okay. because you're not actually sleeping. You're just laying down crying. Not that I know anything about that. Oh, well, I'm so excited about that. That's really cool. I'm trying to, and now I'm like thinking of all these other races. I'm like, ooh, what other races could you do?
Yeah, I have so many on my list. I could name like a dozen.
Yeah.
Yay.
Really? Can you imagine what she would do at something like a hamster wheel?
So I was debating between doing Stone Cat and Hamster Wheel, and I ultimately decided on Stone Cat because I had so much fun at it last year. But yeah, Hamster Wheel, I was thinking about it. So maybe another time.
Yay.
Yeah, I bet you would destroy that course.
And even if you didn't, though, we'd still love you.
Well, yeah.
But wow, yay. So do you prefer like the looped courses, or do you prefer the kind of like Stone Cat was a looped course, but like Hamster Wheel is kind of like that, the out and back and like the kind of flatter terrain. Like, do you have a preference?
Yeah, I don't know if I really have a preference. I think the smaller loops at Hamster Wheel would be tough for me, just doing the same thing over and over again. But I mean, I love like out and backs, like looped courses. I love the Vermont 50, like one big loop. I had never done anything like that before. I feel like a lot of races I've done have been like 3 loops or 4. So
okay.
That gets repetitive, but like not too bad. So yeah, I don't really have a preference too much, but the smaller loops kind of scare me. I think it's easy to get in your own head.
Vermont 100, one big like clover leaf, so you never loop it.
I forgot that the Vermont, that they didn't have the Vermont 50 this year.
No, the
Vermont 100.
They didn't have the 100K.
Vermont 100 was and the 100 they were canceled because of the rain. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, because those were that. And, I was thinking
in July.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Lila, could I ask you a big favor?
Yeah.
So I just want to ask you first a question. So when you did your FKT, what style did you do that in? What was the manner? Were you?
I was supported.
You were supported.
Oh yeah. God! I was like, where is he going with this?
Man. How did you not instantly know?
I did not know where he was going with this.
Wow.
Supported. Like, what the heck's going on?
Well, that must have been pretty good, right?
Because
oh, definitely.
Because support's kind of good, right? I mean, so I have, so podcasts are kind of like supported FKTs, right? So we could try to like make it by ourselves and like do all that stuff, but it gets difficult, like going completely alone. So we rely upon the generosity of our community to kind of help support us some. So there's lots of ways if people wanted to support the podcast that they could. One way is you could leave us a review, right? That wouldn't hurt, would it? Would it, Celeste? Would that hurt?
No, it would actually be beneficial for everyone involved.
It would feel really good.
It would.
Yeah.
Because we would we read that on the air?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It would feel good like one of Bill Gibbs's massages, probably.
I don't know about that.
Well, maybe not that good, but pretty good.
I mean,
not as good as that, but almost as good as that. So if you do need a massage, Bill Gibbs is a great place to go.
Poor Lila's got to be like, oh my God, what is he asking of me? Because I keep forgetting and thinking,
longest intro ever.
What is going on?
Well,
poor thing is going to be like sweating, like, oh my God, who's this crazy guy? So don't worry, it's nothing creepy, even though it sounds. Art made it sound kind of creepy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Now
I don't know if
we're seeing your email.
Are you?
Your email, literally.
Oh no, my email's showing. I'm not.
Cover up your email for God's sake, man.
Sorry about that. So
have some self-respect.
Gotcha. So there are lots of ways to support the show. Another way is if you wanted to be a supporter, an athletic supporter, you could do so by becoming a Patreon, right? And we have many different levels of Patreon support that we offer. One is our favorite that bugs some people. It's called the Evil Becky level. Okay.
That one's fine. You can have the Evil Becky level. It's fine.
The Evil Becky level. And that's just $6.66 a month. So, but there's many other levels. So just go to patreon.com or we'll have a listing in our show notes about how you can find that information. So, about how you can become a Patreon. And, we'll probably screw up your name, but that's okay.
We won't. Lila will, if we ever ask her. Will you read our Patreons?
Sure.
I
think I'm going to pronounce a lot of these wrong.
That's the way. That's exactly what we want.
That's exactly what we're looking for.
We're looking for that. We're counting on that, actually. So
yeah.
Okay, so I just read the list.
Yep, that's it. Easy as that.
Okay, Hundo Joe, $, exclamation point, Albert James Gallatin, A Marcus, Adam Osmond, Amy Jennifer Hanlon, Amy Jennifer Hanlon's friend.
Oh, I have to I'm part of the other tradition is that I interrupt the shit
we
out
interrupt
of you
a lot
as you're talking. So Amy Jennifer Hanlon just wanted to let anybody out there who's listening. We had Karen Clark on last week, right? Mm-hmm. And she mentioned that she was a national Scrabble champion. And Amy Hanlon basically said she would take her down like a clown. Like she would take her downtown playing Scrabble. Basically, Amy Jennifer Hanlon has been playing Scrabble with her friend and with a whole bunch of other people. And she says she'll kick anybody's ass in Scrabble that wants to come on. Wow. So if anybody's interested in setting up an online Scrabble tournament for Cultra, that's a thing apparently. So we can do that if somebody would like to champion
we got to get on that. Tarts. I feel like that's something that Tarts would be really good at. I don't know why.
He probably would. Either that or Chip, chocolatey Chip. He probably knows a lot of words.
Maybe both. Yeah.
He sounds like a word person.
They have words. Both of them have words.
Lots of words. They probably have words between them.
Yes. So, all right. There you go. Onward.
Okay.
Onwards. Amy Mauer Power, Amy Sorensen, Andy Tidd, Angela Rose, Antone de Betancourt, Austin Frank, Azam Pulatov, Ben Nolette, Ben 1N, Benjamin Griffin, Berkshire Trailheads, Bessic Hustle, Bikini Chicken, Bill Gibbs, Bill Gilpatrick, Bill Odendahl.
Okay, now I got to call timeout on Bill Odendahl here too. So Davy Crockett released an episode about Lake Warmug being the second oldest ultra in the United States and the oldest 100K in the United States. And Bill's the race director there. So check it out. I think registration's open. And
registration is open.
It's the 50th year this year.
It's what now?
That could be if you're
50th year from the start. It started in 1974. So tomorrow, next year will be tomorrow will be the race.
Tomorrow,
next year will be the 50th year, and it's the last Sunday in April.
April. Yeah.
That's a good one Tuesday to look next week.
So that's a great race
tomorrow.
All right.
But you have to do Run Amok first.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Brian Musiak, Bryce Henley, Celeste Fong.
Ding dong.
Sherry Bilby, Chocolatey Chip Chip, Chris Rosal, Christina Chinhing, Christopher Colangelo.
Yep, that's Crisco.
Crisco.
I kind of like the Colangelo. I like that. So
Colangelo, yeah.
Crisco
It's like Peter Lemon Jello.
Yeah, like lemon
jello.
Did I mess that up pretty bad?
No, I like it.
No,
that was good.
It sounds like
there are no wrong answers.
Chunky vomit though.
Oh, imagine if Clement and Christopher got together, you could have scented Jello.
There you go.
Chunks of scented Jello.
Now you sound like throw up. Okay.
Clement scented chunks, Clarice Reinhardt, Craig Wallace, Crutchley, Dan Brahant,
Braveheart, yep.
David Hoople, David Hyde, David Kaplan, Ellen Cretella Connell, Ellie Pell, Emily Mayer, Enrique Tello, Franklin Gandiaga, Fred Willis, F. Arby's, Jeffrey Miller, Heidi Stearns, JJ Duran, Jackie Smith, Jacques Sarbach, Jake Coteen, Jamie Myler, Jank, Jessica Crandall, Jillian Ellefson, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolored Trail Charts, Joseph Morrisroe, Justin Kowski, Kelsey Ang, Lancelot, Laura Ritchie Meow, Lauren Edelman, Law Dog, Leanne.
I'm sorry, I got to call timeout again. Congratulations to Lauren for winning the Roxbury 50K.
Yeah,
it was seriously fast. That was really good.
Yeah,
she did. She
did
finished
very well, so
just
proud of her.
like within, like if let's imagine that she were an Olympic spitter. She finished within spitting distance of Justin Kowski.
She was a championship expectorator. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then she came dancing all night to my wedding. So
she did. Figure. That's true.
Yeah.
That's bonus points. That's just flexing there.
That she just, yeah.
And now back to her show.
Leanne Zarger, Lenny's mom, Liz Vicious 30.
Ooh.
Mace, I'm gonna butcher this. Sorry, Macy Jag Macho.
Perfect.
Mark Kelly, Marty Deshow, Matt Nilsson, Michael Ko, Michael Lopresti, Michelle Pom Pom O'Neill, Microscopic Porcupine, Mike Reardon, Miles Victors, Monkey Stuffer, Name, Matt Zilski, Nicole Carey, Peter Ko, Powered by Pop-Tarts, Rebecca Gonzalez Kreisberg, Richard runs trails on YouTube, finishes Traveler 100, Rob the Bear Breckenridge, Ron Locandro, Ross Bielek, Rufus and Brenda Fortin Chaffee Chocolatey Chicken, Run the Whites at Midnight, Sandy Bartel, Sarah Porras, Scott Johnson, Simon C. Edgett, Slurpee Runner, Steep Endurance, Ty, Tenjong
Aren't you, Ty?
Hot like your mom. The Blue Hills Contingent, the Lazarus Crew, Tom Starodaj, Tony Bonanno, Tony D. Damasio, Tunxus Jamie McCusker, Ultra Walker, Walt Hammer, William Jara, and McCook sit in the rear.
There you go.
Yay.
Wow.
that was
I apologize for any names I messed up.
No, that was really good.
No. You apologize for the names you got correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So Lively, you just did a wonderful job with that, and I want to thank you and thank all of our Patreons out there for supporting us. We couldn't do it without you guys, and it's a great chance for us to get to connect with you. It kind of gives us get you on our radar. So thank you. One last part of business, I just want to say also, if you're looking for any Christmas presents or holiday presents or whatever you're celebrating, you can go to our gear store. That stuff is available now, and it's not too late to get it, but it will be soon. So order those hats. We know it's cold, and get some hats. And right back.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
also, I got new stickers in tonight.
Oh,
you did?
Yeah. So if anyone wants a sticker, just send me your address.
$20 bill.
I will accept bribes.
Wow.
Oh, well, I'm so excited to see what you do next. And you just seem like such a positive force that it'll just be exciting to run amongst you in my travels as you pass and go off.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited for the upcoming year.
Yay.
Great.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Lila, thank you so much. Do you guys have any closing arguments? Or
Nope.
I'll see people at the Fall Fling this weekend.
Oh,
it's this weekend?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Wow.
Or the Know Your Pace race too.
Or the Know Your Pace race.
I always say I'm going to do it.
You can't do them both. You can't do them both.
Well, you can. You can show up late for the Know Your Pace for the Fall Fling.
For the Fling.
You can't show up for the Know Your Pace race.
No.
So that's the race that you win by predicting your time. It's on the Manchester Road Race course in Manchester, Connecticut, not Manchester, New Hampshire, or Manchester by the Sea, or any of the other Manchesters, Vermont. Not that one. There's probably Manchester, Maine somewhere, right?
Oh, yeah. There's Manchester, Maine. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This is Manchester, Connecticut. And it's on the Manchester Road Race course. And you run that. You tell us how fast you're going to run it. And then whoever's closest, and usually people are within 5 seconds.
Are a lot of people within 5 seconds, or usually the winner is within 5 seconds?
We've had winners who usually it's winners within 5 seconds, typically. Yeah. And we have usually a couple people who are 5 seconds. We've had them 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, cheating? 4. Do I have to go on?
You're probably
5
cheating.
seconds, 6 seconds,
5 seconds, 6 seconds.
Seconds, so.
Sometimes 5 seconds.
Definitely 5
Sometimes
seconds.
a minute.
That's right. Minute and a half. So Lila, thank you again for spending the time with us, Lila. And not getting upset because we were so silly at times here.
No, thank you. This was great.
Yeah. And
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, really looking forward. We'll have to have you back on again, so that we can talk about the next steps in life,
For sure,
it's an exciting thing. And there's not many people your age in this sport who take it, who are taking it as like you are. So I'm sure that you're going to be an inspiration to a lot of people, a lot of younger people who are looking to go into the sport, so.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thank you.
Very impressive.
One last question. What are you majoring in?
Nursing. I'm a junior.
Oh, wow. Yay.
Oh, that's
what good for you.
Very good. That's a good ultra running career, actually.
Definitely. Yeah. I feel like there are a lot of nurse runners.
Yeah.
Helps me de-stress and take my brain off all the schoolwork and studying.
Wow. Good for you. Yay.
All right. So to all of our listeners, if you've made it this far, of course, seek professional help, and we will see you all in a mile
and
a half.
All right. All right.
I think he looks creepy when he's up this close, doesn't he?
Yeah, it does. I don't like being down on my stage in my basement. I don't have any stuffed animals to grab.
Wow. So, Lila, were you scared of gators at all in Maine? Like, how do you deal with all that?
Of gators?
Yeah, all the alligators and stuff. Like, I hear that can be pretty, pretty serious.
Oh, I don't know. I guess not in my part of the state.
Okay. All right. That's fortunate.
What's going to happen is that we're going to be off somewhere and it's going to be like, oh my God, what happened to Art? Why does he only have one leg? And you'd be like, you know what? The one place in Maine that I was, and there happened to be a gator and it ate my leg off.
And he was coming for me because he was so sick of those jokes about gators.
Yeah. It's like, dude, that's not even funny. Like, no one's laughing. They're not laughing at the joke. They're laughing at you, Art.
They're not laughing with you. They're laughing at you.
That's right. Will a gator eat my leg? Let's see.
Oh, you're asking the Magic 8 Ball?
Oh, it says ask again later. So
yes, it tells you that a lot.
I think it says that a lot. I think that
it does.
You have a broken 8-ball.
What?
He does. He does.
No, I've had it tested, Fred. So.
Ask it if it's broken.
Is
ask
this
it.
8-ball broken?
Ask it.
Very doubtful.
Oh, okay. All right.
So there you go.
Know.
Proof.
That's proof. I have to accept that.
Okay.